Why did everyone forget Peter Parker? Spider-Man: No Way Home Explained. Warning: this video contains major spoilers for Spider-Man: No Way Home and references events leading into Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Now, let's begin. At the end of Spider-Man: No Way Home, something unbelievable happens. Peter Parker saves the entire multiverse. He prevents reality from collapsing. He gives every villain a second chance. And then, everyone forgets who he is. MJ forgets him. Ned forgets him. Happy Hogan no longer remembers ever knowing Peter Parker. Even the Avengers seemingly lose all memory of Peter's identity. It's one of the saddest endings in any Marvel movie. But why did it happen? Did Doctor Strange erase Peter Parker from existence? Did everyone forget Spider-Man too? Or was this heartbreaking sacrifice the only way to save the multiverse? Let's explain. It all started with one spell. The events begin shortly after Spider-Man: Far From Home. Mysterio exposes Peter Parker's secret identity to the entire world. Suddenly, Peter's life falls apart. His friends are harassed. His family becomes a target. Even getting into college becomes impossible because of the controversy surrounding Spider-Man. Desperate to fix everything, Peter asks Doctor Strange for help. Strange agrees to cast a spell that will make everyone forget Peter Parker is Spider-Man. It sounds simple, but Peter keeps interrupting the spell. He wants MJ to remember, then Ned, then Aunt May, then Happy. Each interruption changes the spell. Eventually, it becomes unstable and breaks apart. That mistake opens cracks between universes. The multiverse begins to collapse. Because the spell is corrupted, people from other universes who know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man begin entering the MCU. Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Electro, Sandman, the Lizard. Eventually, even more people start forcing their way through the cracks in reality. Doctor Strange explains that countless beings across the multiverse who know Spider-Man's true identity are about to enter their universe. If that happens, reality itself could collapse. Stopping them becomes almost impossible. Until Peter comes up with one final solution. Peter's ultimate sacrifice. Peter realizes the original spell can no longer work. Too many people across the multiverse already know who Peter Parker is. So he asks Doctor Strange to cast an entirely different spell. Instead of making people forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, make everyone forget Peter Parker completely. Not just his identity, his entire existence as a person. It's an enormous difference. Peter willingly sacrifices every relationship he has ever built. He knows MJ will forget him. Ned will forget him. Happy Hogan will forget him. Even the people who love him most will become strangers. Peter chooses to lose everything if it means saving the universe. Did everyone forget Spider-Man? This is one of the biggest misconceptions among fans. No, people did not forget Spider-Man. Spider-Man still exists. The Avengers still remember fighting alongside Spider-Man. The public still remembers Spider-Man saving New York. The Statue of Liberty battle still happened. What disappeared was the connection between Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Nobody remembers who is behind the mask. If someone thinks about Spider-Man, they remember the hero. But they no longer remember that the hero is Peter Parker. It's as though Peter's civilian identity has been completely erased from everyone's memory. Why doesn't MJ remember Peter? One of the most emotional scenes comes after the spell. Peter visits MJ at the coffee shop where she works. Before the spell, he promised he would find her again and explain everything. At first, Peter plans to tell her the truth. But then, he notices the bandage on her forehead from the final battle. He realizes that knowing him nearly got her killed. In that moment, Peter makes another sacrifice. Instead of bringing MJ back into his dangerous life, he quietly leaves. MJ isn't pretending. She genuinely has no memory of Peter Parker. The same is true for Ned. They remember Spider-Man, but they have no idea who Peter is. Did Happy Hogan forget Aunt May? Another question fans often ask is about Happy Hogan. At Aunt May's funeral, Happy tells Peter that he knew May through Spider-Man. That line reveals something very important. Happy still remembers working with Spider-Man. He still remembers May. He simply doesn't remember Peter Parker. In his memories, Spider-Man exists as a separate person whose identity remains unknown. This small piece of dialogue confirms exactly how Doctor Strange's spell works. Could Peter get his memories back? Technically, yes. The spell erased memories. It didn't erase history. Peter still exists. His birth certificate still exists. His apartment still exists. His school records likely still exist. The world hasn't been rewritten. Only people's memories have changed. That means Peter could theoretically introduce himself again and rebuild relationships naturally. However, recreating those emotional bonds would take time, and Peter chooses not to force his old friends back into a life filled with constant danger. How this leads into Brand New Day. The ending of No Way Home perfectly sets up Spider-Man Brand New Day. For the first time in the MCU, Peter has absolutely no one. No Aunt May. No Tony Stark. No Avengers. No MJ. No Ned. He lives alone in a small apartment. He sews his own classic comic-accurate Spider-Man suit. And he returns to protecting the streets of New York as a true neighborhood hero. Early reactions to Brand New Day suggest that this fresh start becomes one of the movie's greatest strengths. Instead of relying on multiverse events, the story focuses on Peter rebuilding his life from nothing while rediscovering what it truly means to be Spider-Man. The meaning behind the ending. The ending of No Way Home isn't just about magic. It's about responsibility. Throughout the trilogy, Peter constantly relies on others. Tony Stark, Nick Fury, Doctor Strange. Even the other Spider-Men help him overcome impossible challenges. But in the end, Peter makes the ultimate Spider-Man choice. He puts everyone else's happiness ahead of his own. It's the purest expression of Uncle Ben's famous lesson. With great power comes great responsibility. Peter accepts that being Spider-Man sometimes means making sacrifices that no one else will ever understand. Final thoughts. So, why did everyone forget Peter Parker? Because Doctor Strange cast a final spell that erased all memories of Peter Parker from every person in the universe, preventing the multiverse from collapsing. People didn't forget Spider-Man. They forgot the man behind the mask. It was Peter's ultimate sacrifice, giving up his family, friends, and identity to save countless worlds. That heartbreaking decision doesn't just end Spider-Man No Way Home. It creates the foundation for Spider-Man Brand New Day, where Peter must begin a completely new chapter of his life with no one left who remembers the person he used to be. What do you think? Was Peter Parker right to let everyone forget him? Or should he have tried to rebuild his relationships with MJ and Ned immediately after the spell? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Spider-Man explainers, Marvel breakdowns, hidden details, movie reviews, and entertainment news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.